Hey everybody, welcome to the channel. I hope you're having a great day. My name is Eric, and I'm glad you could be here because today we are making summer sausage. Summer sausage is one of those classic sausages that have been around since before the advent of refrigeration. And originally, summer sausage was made using traditional European preservation techniques. I mean, you had salting, fermenting, smoking, and then of course drying, and the end result was a meat sausage that did not require refrigeration, which was great because summer sausage was normally made in the wintertime using wild game or whatever meat was available, and by the time the summer came, when meat was a little harder to store safely, summer sausage was there. It did not require refrigeration, and you can eat it, and typically it was eaten all year long. So in today's video, I'm going to show you how to make summer sausage that's going to give you those classic flavors, but can be done in only one day. This is a very easy recipe, and we're going to use a couple special ingredients to make that happen. The first is one called encapsulated citric acid. This unique ingredient is going to help lower the pH of our summer sausage, which is going to help make it somewhat shelf stable, but it's also going to give you that classic sourly, tangy flavor that summer sausage is known for. And another really interesting ingredient that we're going to be using is nutritional yeast. Nutritional yeast acts as a binder inside your sausage meat and imparts this really great umami, cheesy-like flavor, which is going to replicate the flavors of an aged semi-dried summer sausage. Now, I didn't come up with this. A very brave Redditor by the name of HFXGeo has been experimenting with nutritional yeast in salami and sausages with great results, and I thought, you know what, let's put it in our summer sausage, and I cannot wait for you to see how it turns out. Now, we are going to be smoking our summer sausage because I want those really authentic smoky flavors, but through this video, I'm going to share with you several different cooking techniques in the event that you don't have a smoker. So, without further ado, let's make summer sausage.
All right, let's take a look at the meat we're going to use for this summer sausage. We're going to start off with a little beef. We've got some pork back fat and some pork shoulder. But you can feel free to mix and match the meats however you want. If you want to use more beef, less pork. If you want to use wild game, you do want to make sure that you have at least the 25-30% fat content in the recipe, regardless of the meat that you're going to be using. And you will find a recipe link in the description box below. It's going to go over all the details. Be sure to check that out at the end of this video. So at this point, I'm just cutting my meat and fat into manageable pieces, small enough to fit into our grinder, no big deal. And one of the questions that I get asked a lot, funny enough, is what is my absolute favorite knife in my entire collection? And this is it right here. It's a chef's knife by Kotai. Great edge retention, perfect balance between east and west. And I really ought to do a video about it. So I'll put a link in the description box below if you guys want information on the Kotai chef's knife. We got our pieces cut up, and I'm going to place that into the freezer. We want this partially frozen before we grind it. This will keep the fat from smearing, and it'll allow us to keep more fat in the sausage once it cooks. So into the freezer it goes, and this is what it looks like about 30 minutes later. The temperature of your meat and fat should be below 34 degrees. Personally, I like to hover around that 30-32 Fahrenheit area, but once you get there, it's time to grind your meat and fat together on a 6mm plate. Our meat and fat has been ground. It looks great. Notice how the mixture is relatively loose. You know, it's not greasy, it's not sticky, and that just means that it was chilled properly before we ground it, and that's perfect. So we're going to go ahead and mix it. I'm using a stand mixer because we're making such a small amount. And as far as the spices go, we're going to be going for that classic summer sausage flavor. So we've got coriander, nutmeg, salt, pepper, garlic. We're adding nutritional yeast for that additional umami. And in the description box below, you'll find the recipe link once again, and it will have all the ingredients and the exact quantities that I'm using. All you've got to do is type in how much you want to make, and it will self-adjust. The only ingredient that we're not adding at this stage is the encapsulated citric acid. We're going to add that at the very end. But right now we will add just a little bit of water. This is going to help loosen up our meat mixture. It's going to help the spices incorporate a little bit better. And we're just going to mix this until our meat mixture gets sticky enough to where when you grab a small handful of it, it'll stick to your hand when you turn your hand upside down, just like this. Once you get to this stage, you could go ahead and add your encapsulated citric acid. It's important to add this ingredient at the very end of your mixing process. So I'll typically add it in the last 20 or 30 seconds of this step. And all we're going to do is turn the machine on low and just drizzle that encapsulated citric acid into our meat and mix it until it's well incorporated. Normally it takes about 20 or 30 seconds. If you have any questions about encapsulated citric acid, check out the video suggestion at the end of this video. So once we've got it well incorporated, we're now going to put it into a casing. And as far as the casing goes, we're just going to rehydrate a 3-inch casing that we got from the sausage maker. This is a collagen casing, great size for summer sausage in my opinion, and we're just going to rehydrate that in some lukewarm water for about 10 or 15 minutes. So once we've got that finished, it's time to stuff this into its casing. And there we have it. That's it. Our summer sausage is now in its casing. I'm just going to go ahead and remove the rest of what's in that stuffing horn. And this is actually a really cool tool, also from the sausage maker. I'll put a link in the description box if you want information on that. But that just removes, any remaining meat in that stuffing horn. Very easy to clean. And as far as tying this sausage off, we just want to make sure that our sausage stays nice and tight and that it doesn't slip while it's cooking. So I'm just going to make a very simple knot at the very base of that sausage where I've twisted it quite tight. And then I'm going to fold that flap directly over that knot, just like this. It's going to create somewhat of a bubble, as you can see here. Once I make that fold, I'm going to go ahead and tie it again over the fold. And then once we have that tied, we're going to turn the sausage around and give it one more knot on the opposite side. And that's just going to give us a really tight hanging point. It's not going to slip, not going to fall. And most importantly, it'll support the weight that you have in that casing. So once we get that knot secured, we're going to go ahead and cut it, give us a nice little hanging point. And we're actually working on a video that deals specifically with knots. Different knots that you need to know when it comes to making sausages, charcuterie, Spanish, Italian knots, things like that. So thumbs up if you want to see a video like that. All right. So there we go. Our summer sausage is cased. We've got a place to hang it. And now we just need to go ahead and prick out any air pockets that might have formed during the stuffing process. And what the heck? I'm just going to go ahead and prick the entire thing, because it doesn't hurt it. So here we go. Let's go ahead and get our hook ready. We're going to place this into our smoker. Now, as I said earlier, this is one way of cooking your summer sausage. And in just a minute, we'll go over 3 other ways to cook your summer sausage in case you don't have a smoker. So now that everything is set up, let's talk about the cooking schedule. I like to cook my summer sausage nice and slow, allow it to get really good smoke penetration. So we're going to cook it for an hour at 100 degrees Fahrenheit. That's going to help bring the temperature up. It's then going to go to 135 for 2 hours. And during this stage, I'm going to start to apply smoke. We're then going to go to 155 for 2 hours. And then finally, we're going to increase the temperature to 180 until the internal temperature of our summer sausage reaches 150 degrees Fahrenheit. If you don't have a programmable smoker, that's totally okay. Just cook it nice and slow. You don't want to cook it too hot too fast. All right. So the wood we're using is hickory wood, and we're putting this into the Bellows cold smoke generator. The reason I do that is because I like to add smoke at cooler temperatures, and this allows me to manage that smoke a lot easier. But you can easily just put your wood chips or whatever inside your hot box. All right. So let's close it off and let it cook.
Okay, so while that's in our smoker cooking, let's talk about some alternative cooking methods for your summer sausage. And for me, the next best way to cook your summer sausage is on a barbecue pit. This is going to still deliver that nice, authentic, smoky flavor that traditional summer sausage is known for. All you got to do is make sure your temperature is between 190 to 225, indirect heat, nice and slow. Cook it till the internal temperature reaches 150 degrees. If you don't have a barbecue pit or a smoker and you still want to cook summer sausage, you can easily cook this in your home oven. Now, if you do want that smoky flavor, you might have to add a little liquid smoke to your recipe, but all you're going to do is place your oven on the lowest setting, ideally under 250 degrees, and cook your sausage until the internal temperature reaches 150, because that's what's going to activate that encapsulated citric acid. A fourth way to cook your summer sausage is by using an immersion circulator. Sous vide cooking offers quite possibly the most precision because you get to actually set the temperature of your water, and in this case we would set it to 150 degrees Fahrenheit. Place our summer sausage inside of a vacuum seal bag and let it cook inside of that water bath. And you would cook it for 1 hour for every inch that your summer sausage is wide. So in this case, our diameter of our summer sausage was 3 inches. We would cook it for 3 hours. And that should be long enough to fully cook our summer sausage, release that encapsulated citric acid, giving us that really nice tangy flavor. And once again, if you're going to want a bit of a smoky element to it, you might have to add a little bit of that liquid smoke. So no worries, lots of different ways to cook your summer sausage. And in the description box below, I'm going to put a link to the recipe where I'll outline these methods in greater detail in the event that one of them appeals to you. So let's get back to our sausage and see if it's done so that we can start the cooling process. Okay, so our summer sausage has been hanging in our kitchen at room temperature for about 6 or 7 hours. This particular period is called blooming. It takes the color that the smoke imparts onto the sausage and it magnifies it. So if you remember, we started off with a clear casing, and all these rich, deep mahogany colors coming from the sausage is a direct result of this blooming stage. One thing I do like about hanging my sausage at room temperature for at least 7 hours, sometimes 12 hours, is that it does age it a little bit. Some of the moisture will evaporate out, which is going to help sort of intensify the flavors, reduce the water activity, and make it more shelf stable. And at this point, you have a couple options. You can take this summer sausage, slice it, eat it, and enjoy it right now. It's going to be absolutely delicious. But if you wanted to continue to age it, which is going to lower the water content in this sausage, help ripen the flavors, all you've got to do is take this sausage, place it into your refrigerator for anywhere between 48 to 72 hours. And that low humid, high airflow environment inside your refrigerator is going to help evaporate some of that water out, increasing its shelf stability. We're not going to age it today. We're going to go ahead and slice it open right now, give it a little taste, and I'll tell you what I think. So let's see what it tastes like. It's now time to taste our summer sausage, and I'm loving the way it looks. We've got mustard seeds and cracked black pepper sprinkled throughout. Great color and great bind on the meat itself. And smells amazing. That smoke is coming through beautifully. So let's just give it a bite. See what it's all about. That's delicious. I mean, this has got everything that I'm looking for in a classic summer sausage. It's smoky, it's tangy. The spices that we added aren't overwhelming, and they're accenting the meat perfectly. The mustard seeds act as these little flavor balls of explosion every time you crunch on one, and it's absolutely amazing. So this recipe is going to produce more of that classic summer sausage flavor, but when it comes to additives, you can add almost anything you want. Chili pepper flakes, jalapenos, you could put cheddar cheese, you can add capers, olives, nuts, you could put, fruit if you want to, so you can get totally crazy with your summer sausage. And while I was taking the thumbnail for this video, I laid out some cheddar cheese, some olive oil, black peppercorn Triscuits. Thumbs up if you're addicted to Triscuits like I am. I spend way too much money on Triscuits. I love it. All right, so let's just go ahead and give this a taste. Not everyone in our crew enjoys cheddar cheese in their summer sausage, so we don't put it in there, but it's a great addition, especially extra sharp cheddar cheese. They pair perfectly together. So let's just give it a taste. Amazing. All right, so as we wrap this video up, a couple things I want to cover. The first thing is, I know some of you are going to ask about the pH of the final product, so let's go ahead and take the pH so that you can see what that encapsulated citric acid does to make this product shelf stable.
I'm using a pH meter by Apera Instruments. Super easy to use. Just stick it into the meat and it tells you what the pH is. So as a reference, fresh meat typically has a pH of 5.6 to 5.9. And in order for it to be considered shelf stable, we need it to be below 5.0. So as that encapsulated citric acid is released during the cooking process, it drops the pH to 4.3, giving us a very nice, sourly, tangy summer sausage with an environment that very few nasty things want to grow in.
Okay, and another couple questions that I know we're going to get asked a lot is, how do you store it and how long does it last? And because our summer sausage has such a low pH, it is going to give us an extended shelf life, but because it's not dried like traditional summer sausage, it is eventually going to spoil due to the amount of moisture inside of this sausage. So the best way to store your summer sausage is whole, or in this case, what would be remaining of our log. Ideally, you don't want to pre-slice your summer sausage. Place it in a vacuum seal bag, give it a nice tight vacuum, and store it in your refrigerator or your freezer. If you store this in your refrigerator, it'll last anywhere between 2 to 3 months. If you store it in your freezer, it will almost last indefinitely. The thing you do want to remember is that if you do freeze your summer sausage when you thaw it, the texture is going to suffer slightly, but it's really not that big a deal. Most people don't even notice it. And freezing is a great way to store your summer sausage long term. So there you go, folks. That's what I got for you today. If you have any questions on how to make this absolutely delicious, easy to follow summer sausage recipe, leave them in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this video or got anything out of it, a great big thumbs up is always appreciated. And if you're new to our channel, we'd like to say welcome. Thanks for joining us. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and that notification bell so that you can see more of this type of content. Thanks for being here. See you soon.